such a strong faith into everything that you do. So can you share how you incorporate your faith into your daily work as a doula? We kind of talked about like in the hospital, but you meet with these moms before and after their births. You're relying on God to give you clients because that is your job. So how do you work your faith into your daily life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that I always prioritize is that like I don't see my clients as clients. I see them as relationships and building those bridges and those relationships. And I have had, I would say a majority of the people that have hired me are believers, and they've hired me because I am also a believer. But I've had a handful of moms that are not, they don't know God at all.
Okay.
And to me, I'm like, this is such a beautiful witnessing opportunity. And so before every single birth, when I am driving to the birth, I'm listening to my worship tunes, and I always listen to one song in particular, and it's called May the Peace of the Lord Go With You. And that's always been my prayer, is that like when I enter a birth space, I bring God's peace with me, whether they're believers or not believers. And, you know, if they're not believers, I'll be praying inside my head. I'll be praying for the mom, praying for the baby, praying for the staff. If they are believers, I am just verbally praying in the hospital room or the birth center or wherever they're giving birth, especially if they've told me ahead of time, like, I would love for you to pray over me. Like, that's something such a privilege to do. And I remember this birth in February. I was driving down and I was just, the Lord put the word peace on my heart. So I listened to that song and I just kept praying like, okay, Lord, give the mom peace, give me peace, give the dad peace. Just, there was so much of that word was just imprinted on my soul to pray for that word. And this was my first home birth I was ever going to attend. So I walked through the door at 10 p.m. The mom's water had just broken, and I just remember hearing her vocalizing, and I'm like, oh, she is in transition, meaning like she's close to pushing. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And so I walk in and I'm doing hip squeezes and I'm walking her to the bathroom and just everything that she needs support in that moment. And I asked the husband, I was like, so, you know, where's the midwife? Because if you guys don't know, doulas don't do anything medical. So we are emotional support, positional changes, things like that. A midwife does cervical checks and medical things. So there's always going to be someone medical present at a birth, a midwife, or in a hospital setting, an OB or a doctor or something like that. So it's never just me at a birth. And the midwife is nowhere to be
It was looking
seen.
like it was going to be that.
Exactly. And so I was like, okay, like, husband, go call the midwife. And the midwife's like, yeah, I'm just about leaving my house. I'll be there soon. And I immediately knew in my mind she's not going to make it. And there was just this overwhelming sense of peace. Like, I knew I was going to be the only person present in that birth space besides the mom and the dad. And there was no part of me that like had anxiety or thought like, what if something goes wrong? Like, the Lord just eradicated all those thoughts from my mind. And sure enough, the mom starts bearing down, which is like pushing. And I was like, okay, with this next push, like, she's standing up. And I was like, can I kneel down and like see if I can see baby's head? She's like, yeah. So I kneel down. Baby's crowning, meaning like the baby's head is coming out. And I was like, oh my gosh. I like threw my phone. I like cut my hands underneath, and this mom is standing. So the pressure to catch the baby is that much higher, because if I don't catch the baby, it's falling like 4.5 feet to the floor. So I see eyes, then I see nose, and it's looking at me. And then the whole face comes out. Yeah, eye contact. I'm like, the baby starts vocalizing. Like, and it's not fully out. It's just the head is out.
Which is a good sign,
Which is a great sign. And so I'm just holding the baby.
Oh my gosh,
the baby's head, and there's a nuchal cord, meaning the cord was wrapped around the neck once, and then a nuchal hand. I didn't tell this to the mom because I wanted her to stay in the zone. It's just another variation of normal. And then like 1 minute later, she pushes the baby out. It just goes flying like 60 miles per hour vertically down. And you catch the baby. It's covered in vernix, which is like, think mayonnaise with like every oil in the world. It's so slippery. And I'm like holding it. And I'm like, okay, husband, get in here and help me. I gently unravel the cord, pass it under the mom's legs. I'm like, okay, sit down and we'll put baby on your chest. Dad, go grab a warm blanket. Let's keep the baby warm. And like 25 minutes later, the midwife showed up. But the reason why I share that story is that I don't think this couple were believers, but the dad mentioned, he's like, the second you walked in, I felt this overwhelming sense of relief.
Wow.
And I was like, like that's, the secular version of peace, right? This
Right.
overwhelming sense of relief.
Right.
And then, during the crowning, I asked this mother later, I'm like, were you at all nervous? Like knowing that I was your only support person.
Right.
She's like, honestly, no. Like I felt so relieved that you were there. I was not nervous at all. I'm like, oh my goodness, every single aspect of that, the Lord just like poured peace into every
Totally.
single part of that birth story. And to me, it is like the highlight of my doula career. I have this little amniotic stain on my pants that I was wearing, and I've washed my pants plenty of time. And I'm like, this is my badge of honor. I want to be buried in these pants. Like, I love this
my
so
God.
much. So forever, I'm going to be like on cloud 9 from that birth. It was
That's
incredible
so awesome. That
getting to
sounds
catch
like-
a baby.